Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to another update here at Wiki Up Knoll Off Grid. If you're new here, my name's Stephanie, and my husband John and I are working to build our off-grid paradise out here in Cochise County in southeast Arizona. We are completely off-grid, as the name indicates, and we're building our home and currently a subterranean greenhouse with hyperadobe earth bags. It's a long process, it's a slow process, it's very labor intensive, but it is very cheap. And it comes with huge benefits when the house is finished. Today we are going to be starting on the house build, picking up where we left off in last week's video on our last layer before we add our door forms. That is a huge step. Once the door forms go in, we'll be able to see the room layouts in a whole new way. So I'm very excited about this layer. I'm very excited to get it done. And the first one we'll be starting with today is the middle wall, which runs from here all the way across the entire house from west to east and stops over there. We will be crisscrossing the seams and getting started. It's going to be a long bag. It's a lot of work, but we are going to get it done right now. All right, John and I are getting started on that long bag, but I just remembered that I need to address this corner right here. And we have done our complex math. You saw us doing it on video, and we've made our marks here representing a doorway that will be here. And this will be sort of like a buttress, not really a functional buttress where it's supporting anything over here, but it'll be tied into the house wall. And essentially, its purpose is to frame a doorway here. I've not talked about the house layout in general for a little while, but just as a quick overview, this is our main house. There's a bedroom, a den, living room, kitchen, pantry. Our utility room and most of the plumbing and powerhouse and the bathroom and all of that stuff, laundry, will be in this room over here, which we have yet to begin bagging. It is 8 feet away here, and it will be technically an outdoor hallway, but there will be a door here, and the roof will go over as if it's one unit here. But my purpose here is to create a space where I can have guests come in and not traipse through the entire house if they need to use the restroom or something, and also to create sort of a cold vault for air sort of situation here. In the summer at our hottest, our sun actually goes pretty far north and comes up back over there. So this area, once the building is done and the roof is on, will always be in shade. Even from the time when the sun comes up early in the morning, it'll always be in shade, creating cooler air. And there'll be window here on that part of the house that we can always pull that cool, shady air into the rest of the house during the day. So this is like another kind of option as sort of natural air conditioning, using architecture to do that without immense power output. So that's what I'm going for here. In the summertime, it's going to be fully shaded. In the winter, our sun drops really far south and slants at this angle. This door will allow light to come in, heating up some of the flooring in here, creating a thermal kind of mass here on the earthen floor area. And then some of that area will warm up a little bit more, but will always be shady. That's the main goal with that space. So forgot, yesterday we were doing bags over here and I forgot to add on this little bump. So we're going to do that now and then move over to the rest of that. All right, the tiny bag is done. It's a small thing, literally. However, it's a big deal to get that started now so that this door frame will be ready when the time comes. And the next bag on this wall will go from here all the way across and join it in to the rest of that bag, so it'll be tied in well. So that one's done. Now we're moving over to the middle wall, and John has been over here setting up our ramp system. Now that we are above ground on our bags, we don't want to run the wheelbarrows over and like bump on the edges, because the edges are probably the softest area of the bag. They're not soft, but if we ran about 25 wheelbarrows over them, we might damage them at this stage, so we don't want to do that. So we put our ramps up over here to go up and over this bag and take us in to that section so that I can begin the longest bag of the day right over there and continue across this way. All right, first part of the long wall is done. I decided to do it in two parts because it's easier to get that much bag on the bucket. Once you get something this long, it's just so crowded on the bucket that it's hard to really get it empty right. So, and that is the first bag. We're doing the next bag. John is setting up the ramps for the other side to get over that threshold and into this section, because we'll be ending right over there. Okay, there is the center row of bags. I'm very excited. All our stuff has been nicely organized for our next session up here, but we have that bag layer done, and now I can use that to level off the lower part of that very back wall, which is, you can see it right here is the lowest point that I still need to bring up to level before we place our door forms. So that is in process. That'll be the next thing that we do here. I don't know what you'll see next on this video. It could be here, or it could be in the greenhouse, or who knows what else, but you'll find out in a moment, and I will see you then. Right, next up for this video is back down to the greenhouse. So we're going to be working on the north end of the greenhouse today near our entrance. Our goal for today is to get ready with this corner and this corner to prepare how we tie in our entryway. So we're going to be working on that. You'll see a little bit more about that in a moment, but we are going to go ahead and get started with bags ASAP. Okay, 2 bags done. I always have one of these per video. I knew I was going to be short on this system, so I added a little bit of extra bag to overlap it, but for some reason sometimes it doesn't catch, so that took a little extra time because we had to shorten a bag, unfill it, refill it, put a new one in. It's all good. It's all good now. We are moving over here, and you will see that part next. All right, we're getting higher and higher. You can see now that I'm actually using a stepladder to get up on top of the wall portion. The challenge we're running into now, because this is not a plumb wall, as we've discussed before, the greenhouse is a retaining wall, so it's retreating further and further away from the base as we go. So when John's down below with the wheelbarrow, our space of handing off the bucket at the top is getting further and further away. So our goal today is to do one more round here. And then I think we should be high enough to be able to start bringing the wheelbarrow above and handing the buckets down and make it a little bit easier. So we're going to work on that. You're going to see us do, again, the same thing we just did around here, and then we'll see where we go from there. Alrighty, there is the 2 layers in all 4 sections over here. There's the dogs, they've been released. And off camera, we got 2 bags on this side as well. So like I said earlier, we're gonna try to do these top 2 corners before we move back south again, so that we can begin to tie in our entryway. So you'll see that shortly, but this is enough for today, and it is now time for lunch. Just as a side note and small update on our cattle guard, it's been in for about 2 weeks now. You can see how it's settled into kind of tire track situations. And then over here, you can see cow tracks. They've come up the other side, and turned around to go the other way. Haha, it's working. No cows, no cows. I'm loving it. All right, it's a new day. We have some clouds today, which that's nice. Here's yesterday's work, and you have seen us working on the west wall on the north end. So we're doing that now. We're at this section, so I'm going to go across with one little bag and then immediately back over the same area with the next bag, and then we're going to do it all again. So we are slowly coming up on this end, and then we'll see what's next. Alrighty, those 2 bags are done. Now we're going to do these 3 sections again. It's basically 2 and a little over a half of a section there. Our goal is to basically use the rest of this pile that we've been working on for this entire time. We've got that much left, which we think would fill those 2 sections. And then John will stop having to come down the ramp and we can start filling from the top, and we're going to start using that pile next. So that's our goal today before lunch. So we're going to get that going, and you'll see what that looks like right now. Okay, we now have both sides almost even. This section and that section could be one more to match that side, but we used up most of the dirt, which is located up there. We're going to stop for the day, have lunch, and then our next session we will be working from this side. So that feels good. We'll be going from the top down instead of handing buckets from down here up. So we'll see how that goes, and you'll see what comes next in just a moment. Okay, time has come for us to start working on the ramp entrance and tie it in to the two walls I've been working on either side. So I haven't done it to this point because the walls weren't really high enough to tie into anyway. And now you can see I marked the kind of contours with some black paint, and I think from the top you can see a little bit better right about where that shadow starts. There's a bump down in the natural terrain. As we talked about before, this is decomposing granite mostly in this area, and so when the excavator was digging this out, you can't always get it super smooth because decomposing granite, when you grab onto it with some kind of excavator or a shovel or something, it'll sometimes come out in huge chunks. And that's what's happened in part of this ramp. And the other part is it did sit through an entire monsoon. You can see kind of the track of washed water as it came down through the summer. Not a huge ton because it is mostly a crumbly rock, but some wash in. So our goal today is to get the ramp ready to receive a smaller bag on either side to make a retaining wall for both these sides and leave an area in the middle that is big enough for a wheelbarrow to always go down into the greenhouse in the future. And it's going to be easier to take a wheelbarrow through if we have basically a flat surface side to side and a consistent grade, as consistent as we can get it going down. So I have to go with the pickaxe and gently kind of release some of the really gravelly material and then scrape it back and sculpt it in to try to make it, as smooth as possible. The trick is, and the challenge is that I don't want to chip it too much because, again, huge chunks will come off, and I'll show you that over here. This is a part we'll be reinforcing, of course, with the wall. This has been chipped by the excavator. There's a piece of the crumbly, it looked like solid rock, but it's really like large grain sand when it's all said and done. This is a piece of the rock. You can see the contours here. And if I just take that and take it out, it just crumbles away in my hand. This is not really rock. It's very solid right now, but if I were to knock that against anything, it just comes apart. So same thing's happening down here. It drains really well. That's great. It's great for landscape purposes, but we have to be careful in how we disturb this because once it's disturbed, it wants to crumble, and we don't want it to crumble. We want to be able to use it as a ramp going into the future. So we're going to work on this, continue to work on it, get out those bumps and bubbles on the sides that you can see, and then I will show you next steps in a moment. Okie dokie. This is what it looks like right now. We spent some time off camera working on chipping away at the grade. There's a small dip you can still see just under that wheelbarrow up there at the top of the ramp. We decided to actually build that up at a later date because we like the slope that is on the right side of the ramp more than the left side slope. So we're going to fix that a little bit later, but everything else is looking pretty good. We have put our rubble layer. If you've been watching for a while and following along, you know why we do this for bags. It's basically the stone form of kind of a capillary break on like a foundation or something. So we're doing that to keep water from wicking directly into the bags at all times in easy ways, and also to allow any water that gets in the bags a space to drain out onto the surface. So that's what we're doing. This application of bags will be a little different because we're going up a slope. So we're going to be doing kind of a reverse stair step with our bags up the wall as we go. And the bags will be much narrower. You're not seeing things. This is about a 6-inch wide rock layer underneath here. Our bags here are about 12 to 14 inches finished. So we'll be using a smaller bag. We use this on the base of our pole barn for the cob structure we did there. I somehow ended up with a whole roll of these narrower bags. I think it's actually an 8-inch bag. You can see it's about the width that my hand is long. And when it's finished, it comes to about 5.5, 6 inches when tamped into place there. So that'll allow us more room on the ramp when it's finished so that we can keep our space here for wheelbarrows and carts and things through the years into the future. And it will still serve as a little retaining wall for this section of the ramp. And we'll be able to tie that in to the bag wall system that's going here. And you'll see how that looks as we go into the future. But for now, that's going to wrap it up for us. This video is getting a little long. We're going to continue this and many other things next week. So if you are looking for what comes next and another update from us, please do check back on Sunday here at Wiki Up Knoll to see how high we can make these walls and how far we can get into that dirt mound. Thank you so much for following along with us. If you're following along for a long time, we appreciate you. We are loving sharing the updates with you. We love watching it back and seeing that, yes, we actually have done something. If you've noticed, this progress grows very slowly, but it's fun for us to watch it back. I hope you're enjoying it as much as we are. And again, I hope to see you here next Sunday at Wiki Up Knoll Off Grid to find out what comes next.